Hey guys, a couple things before I jump into today's story. I'm sick and I've been sick for the last 2 weeks from product testing and, just winter head cold and stuff like that. So if I sound crazy, that's why. Also, if you guys could, please follow my Google+. I'm going to leave it in the description below. Somehow I got 2 mixed up Google Pluses when the whole Google Plus campaign was out for YouTube. So in the next few videos, I'm going to try and get people to follow me on my my proper Google Plus for my YouTube. And if you guys could do that for me, I'd really appreciate it, because that somehow gets you verified if you have 1,000 followers on that. I'd really appreciate it if you guys would just do it, man. Like, just please. Thank you. So into today's story, Microsoft and Phil Spencer came out and talked about potentially upgrading the Xbox One and making it an upgradable console instead of console iterations. This was discussed with Sony also, but apparently they kind of went against it, voted against it or something. There hasn't been much talk since then about that. So what does this mean? What are the good and the bads about it? And how's it going to work if it even does come about? Well, I'm here to discuss that. As a PC Master Race enthusiast and a console peasant, I see both sides of the equation. And I gotta tell you, being PC Master Race is a bitch sometimes, but it is rewarding. You know how you play games on the console, and sometimes you get these old remasteries and you have to sit there and suffer with 3x4 and 360p resolution. Well, you know what? If you play the same games on the PC, you can hack them and make it 16:9, 1920 by 1080, and you don't have to suffer with that resolution. So there's definitely some advantages to being PC, but you have to have a brain. And you have to have time. If you don't have time, you can be the smartest person in the world and not have time. But that is what is going to be the problem with the Xbox One. If individuals get this upgrade program and Microsoft releases it and people are like, well, how do I do this? How do I do that? What's going to end up happening is Microsoft is going to have official representative stores in tons and tons of areas, and I can't see that possibly happening. They would literally have to roll out these programs at your local GameStop and Walmart just to have enough representation so that their customer support wasn't flooded with herp derp. How do I plug in this video card, So that's the main issue. Now, here's my discussion here's my talks about this. One, I'm fairly certain that the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One don't have discrete graphics cards, i.e. there's no card you can pull off. They have chips with graphical processing units allotted on the chip. A lot of people don't know how APUs or integrated graphics actually works. What it is on your CPU processor, if you have integrated graphics, there's a portion of that processor dedicated to onboard graphics. This means when you power up your computer and you don't have a graphics card plugged in, you can still configure it. You can do this, that, and the other, whatever you need to do. Usually nowadays, that's not that big of a deal because it auto-detects graphics cards and it gives you that shitty resolution when you start it up. But point is, most CPUs and most users, PC, laptop, whatever, use integrated graphics. It's the majority. I think last time I checked, it was 79% of the world used Intel graphics. So, yeah, PC Master Race, very, very small amount. I mean, 21% is nothing to sneeze at, but it's still not 79%. So, what the problem would be with upgrading the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 is that you can't just rip that chip out and be like, oh, I'm just going to upgrade the graphics. Because if you put in a new chip, you have to get it exactly the same way. You have to have the same exact processing architecture. You couldn't take out your AMD-based Jaguar CPU from your Xbox One and insert an Intel. That wouldn't work. And also, you would have to, again, get a chip with graphical processing capabilities on it. Now, as the CPU manufacturing process has been increasing, AMD has been coming out talking about their new chips that are going to be releasing this year, and Intel has also its Skylake division that has come out, and graphics and processing has increased exponentially. However, that doesn't mean that's going to translate to, oh, I was using a 2-year-old CPU and I upgraded to the new CPU, now I can play Fallout 4 1080p 60 frames a second. No, you might get a few frames increased, like 5 or 10 being like, oh my god, that is a hell of an increase. And a lot of people don't understand that on the console side. They don't get the difference between 5 to 10 frames. If a game is meant to run at 60 frames and you lag 10, you're going to see it. You're going to feel it in the game. It's going to be sluggish. There's going to be tearing. There's going to be lag, latency. You're going to feel all of that. So you're not going to be able to rip out that chip and just put in a new one and expect to have the huge frame differences. And that's going to be one of the biggest problems with this, because while developers can sit there and develop for these newer chips that would come out that you would be able to put into your game console, you're not going to see that much of an increase. 5 to 10 frames, you might see a little bit better. I don't know. I'm not sure how it would work. I'm just kind of low-end speculating here. And then on top of that, the developers will be capped off at developing for the weakest processor that is available for the market. So, for example, if someone out there had the regular Xbox One, developers would have to be capped off of that. Otherwise, they would have to make their game, slap it on the box, and say, oh, if you have the original PlayStation 4 or Xbox One, sorry about your luck, you can't play this game. It doesn't do well. The first rule of marketing is making your product available as widely as possible. So to limit yourself to one system and then to also limit yourself to the newest version of that system is just fucking yourself. So that's probably not going to happen. So what else could you potentially upgrade in the Xbox One? Well, if the CPU and the GPU are combined together, then that's about it. You already can upgrade your hard drive. To the best upgrade you could do to your Xbox One currently would just be a solid state disk drive. And I promise you, it is a substantial upgrade. It makes things smoother, but again, you have to do a little bit of modding and hacking yourself to make it work. On the PlayStation side, it's a little bit easier. They have tutorials, but it can be done to both systems, and I think that would be the best upgrade system that they could do. You get the SSD, and they put out a tutorial on how to include your SSD. All you do is you download the software, you format it, and put it on your SSD, and then you just plug it into your Xbox One, unscrew a few screws, and that's it, done and done. I think that would be one of the best upgrades that you could do to it. The only other things that you could change about the Xbox One would be the motherboard itself, and my god, at that point in time, why the hell would you? You have to literally tear the whole thing apart and piece it back together just to put a new motherboard on it. What else is there left? Maybe the RAM? Maybe? But that doesn't make a substantial difference. That doesn't make a massively huge difference in a lot of games depending on how the games operate. With the APUs, yeah, it does, but I don't know if that would make a difference on these specifically designed Jaguar processors. So, I mean, even doubling the RAM, you wouldn't see a 30 frame increase. That's what a lot of people are looking for. A lot of people are looking for 1080p, 60 frames a second for the Xbox One. And doubling your RAM isn't going to get that for you. Again, you might get 5 to 10 frames if you double your RAM and you change out the CPU for a newer one. Let's just shoot for 10. Let's just say you get a lot more frames. 10 for almost every game. So that's 20 frames. That would move it from 30 to 50. And while that's a substantial increase, it's still not 1080p at 60. And that still doesn't account for every single developer developing for those specifications. They're still going to be developing for the lower end software. So how would it even work? It wouldn't. There probably wouldn't be any way possible, not with current tech, not with how well sealed up it is. When you're talking about doing your own manual upgrades, you want something that you can open easily. I remember with older systems, the Nintendo 64, the Super Nintendo, there used to be ports in the back, on the bottom, and when they used to release peripherals, you could just plug them in. It was really simple, like the Game Boy player for the GameCube. Stuff like that would work very well for the Xbox One and PlayStation 4, but I don't know if it even would be possible, because there's not really a lot of ports on those systems. There's not a serial port or anything like that, and you're limited to the USB 2.0 that is currently available on them, or if they have USB 3 support. And even with USB 3, it's still not fast enough to process enough graphical information to just do an upgrade via that path. So as far as that goes, the only thing that would be able to be upgraded in both systems is the RAM or the CPU/GPU, and in the end of it, it probably wouldn't be a substantial upgrade, but it would be a substantial price tag. It would probably be at least $100 to $150 for both of those, for a newer CPU and newer RAM together, and that would be a good chunk of money, and that would be a very substantial upgrade. So that's my thought process on that. If you guys have a contesting opinion, please leave it in the comment section below. Once again, please follow my Google+. I will leave it in the link in the description below. I would really appreciate it. Just need 1,000 people to follow me, and it should re-verify my account. We'll have to see if that's actually true or not. And hopefully I will be feeling better. I'm actually feeling quite better compared to the last few days, but, you know, on top of being sick, I'm also suffering from allergies real bad. And it snows here randomly, and then it's like sunny, bright, like 40, 50 degrees, and then it snows, and it's like 10 to 15 degrees the next day. It's the worst, man. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope I helped to explain that for you. Are you PC Master Race, or are you a console peasant, or both? Let me know in the comments below, and I've been your host, Protomario, and I'm signing out.
Thanks for watching my video and making it to the end, and would you please consider subscribing to my channel? By subscribing to my channel, you are not only supporting me, but also joining a community that is against stereotypes, lies, and fraud in gaming. I work my hardest to inform my subscribers of important stories that might affect them. From new games to important updates, the Mavericks are always informed. If you are tired of political correctness ruining your gaming experience, then join my rebellion, because PC isn't for me. And if it isn't for you either, consider yourself a friend of the Mavericks. Subscribe today and you'll be in good hands. Mavericks unite, and together we can keep gaming from falling prey to the people that would not only censor it, but also destroy it.